Right, so I have returned once again today to actually deliver a stream of JoJo by Jojolion, which might or might not be the penultimate chapter of the whole entire series, if the intent's to be believed, supposedly. Let's see if we get any life on YouTube, that is. I do believe in the YouTube, you will kick in any second now. That's loud. Right, those are all good to go as well. Let's put my headphones over there because I don't need them now. Let's just not do that. I was gonna lean on my light, and I was like, "Oh shit, my light can actually be a good leaning device." It wasn't. Terrible leaning device, actually. So anyway, yes, actually have returned to actually cover chapter 108 of JoJo by Jojolion, which actually is currently the most latest chapter of the whole entire series. Once again, also presumably the penultimate chapter of the whole entire series as well. Granted, it's Iraqi, so we actually have no idea. Considering we now actually have Hato back, which actually is Kato back, sorry. It actually kind of is very interesting. She actually kind of had a very explosive entrance into the entire series once again. I wasn't expecting Kato to actually kind of do all those things, but here we are. Now Toru's actually kind of like, fuck. even Yashihiro is kind of like, holy fuck, okay, this is actually kind of getting serious. I wonder what's going to happen here, boys. Yeah, so considering this is actually going to be like the one, I do actually wonder what's going to happen. Did I say Kato's back and Hato's back? Hato is also back. Because she appeared in the last chapter as well. She kind of just vibed. Hello, thanks for by as well, thank you. Thank you for your nice comment as well. It's really nice of you to say. Thank you. Sorry for not replying. I just had to quickly go and actually do an errand. So anyways, actually actually gone live. So gone live for chapter 108. Right, we're actually all good to go. So as I always say, let's get this show right. Actually see what happens in 108, which is actually named The Last Calamity. Which actually makes sense that it might be ending. This story is about breaking a curse. Because, scientifically speaking, yes it is, actually. It's all about breaking the curse. Yoshikata Kato's attack Tsurugi. Tsurugi. Tsurugi! Oh! What? my thoughts exactly. The equivalent exchange. Which way will it go between you and Tsurugi? Which will the illness come to this side? Ooh, the one that ate the fruit was me. Everyone's just kind of either passing out or on the floor dead at this point in time. The potted plant has already been broken to pieces. I just put the grafted new branch between my space tracking cards and smashed it into pulpy tree sap. Oh, Kato-san. The credit exchange. I never thought you would pull an attack like this on me. Well, I mean, it makes sense when you kind of think about it. In the grand scheme of things, it does make sense why this is actually happening. How dare you do this to me? Do you really think you're going to get away with this? Yeah, more likely. God! Oh! Yo, it's a pretty cool pose, gotta admit. Stop this, Yoshikata Kato. Get Tsurugi's arm off of me! Do you understand what you're doing? The new Rokuka branch is a natural law of this world that came about on this land from a series of overlapping coincidences. Of the wall-eye faults from the earthquake, Yoshikage's death, and stand abilities. Even saying Yoshikage. Am I right in saying this missing an E? Yoshikage. I just saw that. I was like, wait a minute. My brain, have I been saying it wrong this entire time? That plant will never again appear on this earth. Search any of the southern islands, you will never find one. It's divine providence that has appeared for the sake of life on earth. This perfect plant will be gone forever. Stop this. Stop destroying all of the branches. Shh. You will take all of Tsurugi's illness, and then I will shoulder this sin. Don't do this. Yashihiro-chan, please, you have to stop her. She's mistaken. Please help me, Yashihiro-chan. I don't want to die. You're the only one that can save me. Please. We've been friends ever since you were a child, haven't we? You should stop this goddamn bitch already. God damn it. Oh shit. Just like that, he's gone. Ah. Kato coming in with a clutch though. Someone died in the chapter's like, Kato coming with that clutch. I just thought I saw a hornet. Oh, I see, it was a memory of mine. Grandma, huh? Ah, I can hear a siren from far off. A fire truck? An ambulance is coming. Mom, your side. Oh shit. Where was it now? Oh yes, when I went to crush the branch, that was an attack from me. This is a calamity that this saw he was holding before. I possessed it along with his left hand between my cards. Kato coming with clutch and dying? This is JoJo for fuck's sake. No one can die from a goddamn stab wound. It's impossible. Mom! Jojolion. This is a story about breaking a curse. There are things that exist in this world that eyes cannot see. In Jojolion, this is the shape of a person's heart. The prices that Higashikata family had to pay and sacrifices they had to make were far too large and cruel. That could be seen in the room of the eldest son collapsed in the passageway between the house and the garage, and in the form of the crying family members. One that hadn't seen her mother since she was a little girl, couldn't forgive her for everything she had done and got upset. One that acted out selfish desire and was injured, and one that had a secret until a little while earlier and now just lost her husband. In this garage where that family had gathered, what do you think one could see? When you looked at the yucca plant that had broken to pieces and was lost forever, and at the Higashikata estate that had been destroyed by a broken off part of a plane, and debris among the playing cards scattered on the floor, just what could you see? It was not despair. To me, Hiroshi, it looked like hope. The family that all acted in the name of hope, after having fallen down in the hallway because of the calamity, after everything that had ended, the members of the Higashikata family moved further into the back of the garage. That was all for the sake of hope. In the smooth, shiny skin of the eldest son's cheek, the hope of the Higashikata family was visible. Because at that moment, the curse was broken. Yo, they broke the fucking fourth wall. I know it's the most like lax reaction to the whole entire section, but yeah, I kind of like the idea that he actually just broke the fourth wall completely. The burn on the blood vessels in Grandpa's neck is really minor. It wasn't deep at all. It's all okay now. It actually is ending. The wound that had stabbed. The wound that his stand ability made, Dad, he definitely held back. I'm sure Grandpa he definitely knows that. Huh. What? Are you kidding me? What was that? Just now, he couldn't. No way. They looked like the head doctor. Just now, it looked like he snuck from below the car into Norisuke's son's sheet. Exists? It's not here. Yeah, of course not. I mean, the user Toru-kun is gone. I saw him turn to dust. God, what's happening to Grandpa? Is this? Grandpa just took a sudden turn for the worse. Hurry, please, get him treatment for the burn on his neck. What the fuck is happening? This can't be. There's no way this is happening. That was the head doctor just now. The form of the head doctor is calamity energy. a natural law of calamity, even without a user to control it, will the head doctor still not disappear? Gravity is still going, or rather the laws of calamity are just things that exist in this world that can never go away. And the Wonder Review was just an ability that allowed Toru to use that for its own ends. Oh! The head doctor has gone inside Norisuke-san's body. Jojolion, sorry, but could you clear the area from right around Norisuke-san? I can't control it perfectly. It's an invisible spin after all. I can aim it approximately. So stand away from me. Josuke! Here goes. Soft and wet. Go beyond. Ora ora ora! Gah. The calamity had blasted to bits. To be continued. Woo! What the fuck? Okay, that was my head. That's a whole lot. Okay, that's a bunch. So yeah, this whole entire manga essentially. What did everyone? I heard people saying that oh, I heard one person say, oh, there's a narration by Yashahol. I was like, okay, that's interesting. What's going on there? Clearly, it wasn't. It was Araki himself. He basically told us what the whole entire plot of this manga actually was, which now in context makes sense. Because again, you're not really aware of it because the entire time you're wondering how to defeat the bad guy. You know the curse has always been there since the start. It's kind of like the major thing. It's not as if it just came out of nowhere and kind of went, well shit, what do we do now, essentially. No. It's always been there, but it's always been one of those things you're less aware of in comparison to, say, the Wonder Review, other stand users, Josuke's plight, and so on and so forth. That's always been the centralized point of the narrative. But that's done on purpose because the centralized point of that narrative itself was the curse. The curse itself being broken was what was needed in the end. And Kato actually kind of, in a way, actually managed to actually kind of break the curse. She inadvertently came in, out of nowhere, kind of went, fuck you, Toru, and actually kind of broke the curse. And actually just ended the entire problem. And I like how it wasn't via the means of a Joestar. No, it was actually the character who had been demonized the entire time because of her past. I feel like that's actually kind of a stroke of genius when it comes to actually almost breaking down what this whole entire manga was. Because as I said during the last stream, this entire manga exists in its own place in JoJo history. I would not be able to tier list this whole entire manga series because Part 8 is just its own thing. It just doesn't exist in anything else like JoJo Part 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, or 2, or 1. It does exist in the same kind of degree of their previous counterparts. Part 8, on the other hand, doesn't. I feel like Araki kind of coming in and saying, yeah, by the way, jokes on you, this whole entire time, this actual story was about them actually kind of breaking the curse, makes sense now. It just kind of proves to you this isn't a part of JoJo. This isn't the JoJo part that I imagine people wanted in certain cases, but I'm glad it actually exists. Because it does, to a degree, show us an evolution in Araki's writing. It kind of tells us that he isn't doing the same thing 8 times, essentially. Granted, still, I feel like Part 7 was a catalyst for the actual, like, advancement of Araki's actual writing prowess. But at the same time, I feel like Part 8, for the most part, gets you into this, like, very, very samey kind of, like, state of understanding. Like, in essence, I believe now that everything he's done is done on purpose. I feel like everything he did was to then have this whole entire revelation at the end and actually then make you go, it all makes sense now. I kind of feel like he kind of made you go into a state of trance, like, oh yeah, I know what's going on here. I understand everything. This is all happening because I know these things. The idea of, like, Highway Star, the idea of, like, those arcs that happen in the middle, it was things that we knew, it's things we've grown accustomed to, and then he starts to kind of unwrap the entire thing beneath you. And I feel that's actually kind of genius. I feel that's actually really, really fucking cool. Because it is like, yeah, and now we have the actual overall plot. The plot itself was the curse, to break the curse. Something that's always been alluded to, that we've never really kind of paid much attention to. It actually was always meant to be the centralized point of the entire narrative. And I feel like Araki actually did it perfectly. It was actually done, exquisitely done, because again, it's the kind of like, it's the underbelly of the narrative, the over sense of narrative, the other overt, covert, I think it's actually called. The overt of the narrative actually is like the idea of them beating the shit out of stand users and actually beating down the bad guy. That's the overt. Subvert is actually like, or covert is actually the curse. But again, I feel like what he's done here is genius. I feel like he's actually kind of broken down every single thing that actually has been, because it's always been, it's never been specifically been said what a part is meant to signify or meant to mean, because it always means something different to different people. But I feel like this actually is a very personal plot to the characters in the actual manga. Because I mean, the idea of hope has always been a prevailing theme within JoJo. The idea of hope we saw in part 7, saw in part 6 as well. The idea of actually kind of losing all of hope, and actually then when the actual new world appears, it actually kind of sees the people he knew, but through a different lens. So the hope is still there. That he's actually able to see his friends again, but not to the same degree. So again, it's always been this idea that hope has always been a prevailing theme, but now it's actually kind of come full circle in the sense that it's actually the prevailing theme of the entire manga. So yeah, I maintain what Rocky's done here is brilliant. It's actually a really fucking good thing. Like, it's just kind of, he's broken down every fiber of what JoJo is meant to mean, essentially. Because now, essentially, you can't really look this whole entire part in the same way ever again, because now, rereading it, knowing that this whole entire part's all about this, you see a different entire manga now. It's an entire different storyline. It's not the same, oh yeah, Josuke's beating the shit out of bad guys again. It's not that at all. And I kind of imagine that now this actually was done on purpose, that actually kind of make you go, holy shit, so that's what this is actually meant to mean. So now it gives me hope for a part 9 that kind of then actually subverts even more. But I kind of appreciate more than anything how it was Kato who did it. It wasn't Josuke. Josuke was a bystander essentially in his whole entire plot. He was an outsider. He was secondary to the whole entire Yoshikata family. Same thing with Yashahiro to an extent. They were both outsiders to this whole entire plot. They both meant to signify what Kakuin actually signifies as well, the idea of a person who comes and actually kind of aids the actual kind of protagonist. Polnareff, for example, as well. Bruno, though, that's to an extent, because Bruno's kind of more integral to the overall plot. You know what I mean? Kind of characters like that. The idea of like Hot Pants, the idea of characters that exist to kind of aid the protagonist, and actually there to actually kind of have their own plot threads. And actually then might get realized in the end, but then subsequently some things might happen to them. We don't know. But you know what I mean, it's that whole entire idea, the idea of like Avdol as well. Those characters that existed always in JoJo. But it's been role reversed to this extent. We thought originally that Josuke was a protagonist, because you're meant to think that he is. The show, well, the manga kind of specifically says he is. He's the protagonist. But he's just a bystander. Same thing with Yashahiro, they're both bystanders to the entire plot. They're there just to kind of aid Kato, in a way. The protagonist of this whole entire plot was someone who wasn't even here for half the entire manga. And I kind of thought it was actually kind of genius as well. She came in, saved the day, and actually broke the curse. And I kind of like how it was from a demonized character, because again, we've seen redemption arcs for characters who have been demonized in JoJo. There's always been the idea that characters can have a very, very bad past, but then are redeemed by the end. We've seen it very many times in JoJo. I mean, some parts more specifically than others. But I kind of feel like I like how it's done here, because again, there are characters in this manga who haven't forgiven what's happened with Kato at all. Like, there's still the wounds that exist in here. But she's actually now done the one thing that was needed this entire time. She broke the curse, and actually then, I'm guessing, may have died actually doing it. So it's one of those things that, again, it's depressing how she dies, because, theoretically speaking, she dies without mending the relationship between, say, her and Hato, Daya, and subsequently the entirety of the Nosuke family, Higashikata family, technically speaking. She hasn't really mended the entire thing. She's fixed the overarching problem, but still the interpersonal relationships still kind of exist and haven't been entirely fixed. And actually is kind of shown there in the entire blurb with Araki, how he does in theory say that there is characters here who have not seen her in a long time and now have lost her, and the actual idea that she will never see her son again because presumably he's dead. All these things give a sense of hope, but it's also the other side of the coin. This other side of the coin, it's always been a prevailing theme within JoJo. the actual idea that it does hit people that sometimes you can't actually, not everything can be fixed, essentially. People die actually not being able to actually kind of fix those things. And we've always seen it with characters as well. Characters kind of die without actually being able to actually kind of realize their dreams. I mean, even though technically Kato actually did, but still this idea that it's still broken, there's still fractured relationships in this whole entire manga. So yeah, I really do, I kind of applaud him for doing this. It's actually really well done. Probably one of the best things I would have thought he could have done with this manga, because now it kind of spins the entirety of this whole entire manga part in his head. And now we don't actually have what otherwise be a JoJo part now. We have a completely different beast, essentially. More in line with what I would say what something like Fujimoto would write. The idea of actually deconstructing the very fiber of what a manga truly is meant to mean. Because the same thing happens in Chainsaw Man, the same thing happens in Fire Punch. The idea that these are just means to an end, but there's way more things that are under the hood that actually don't come out to the very end. So yeah, Araki's kind of like joined the ranks with me when it comes to Fujimoto. Well, he's always been there, but at the same time more so now, the idea of actually how Fujimoto kind of like constructs the idea of like a storyline to deconstruct it, because deconstruction's always been the massive thing in JoJo. Part 7 kind of proved that. But this part now, more than anything, because basically just he kind of just got the formula and burnt it and kind of went, yeah, fuck it, we don't need this anymore. Because it truly is, and it kind of makes you now realize that everything now will be very personal, more so than just, oh yeah, by the way, I want to kind of win the race, and then actually kind of go home afterwards, and actually subsequently also other things around that as well. Don't get me wrong, it's not just that, but you know what I mean. It's more personal. It's a very personal thing to the characters. So yeah, I blabbed on for quite a while, but god, this thing's kind of genius. This whole entire manga is kind of genius now. Oh man, this actually has blown my expectations out the water. And kind of it's sort of edging past part 7 now. If this actually is the second to final chapter, I do want to see how he lands the ending. Because if he does, this actually might be better than part 7. Like god, it is pretty freaking kino, I must admit. So yeah, I don't know when it's actually next chapter actually lands, if it's next month or the month after. So anyway, I'll be here to actually kind of witness the possible ending of part 8. I guess we'll see what happens. So until then, I have indeed been the driver. So as always, actually have enjoyed this whole entire stream, and doing free, leave a like, because indeed it does help quite a bit. Actually have then enjoyed this whole entire stream, and doing free, as always, leave a sub as well, because both do help quite a lot. Actually have then enjoyed this whole entire stream, and then as always, do leave a follow on Twitter, because it does help quite a bit. You will then know when streams are live and any other streams I do as well. And as always, goshito arigato. Goshito arigato. ご視聴ありがとうございます。僕の動画を面白いと思ったら、いいねやチャンネル登録をお願いします。So until next time, with the possible final chapter of part 8, I will see you guys then. Bye for now.